Despite me being conservative, I do happen to be pro-choice. How do you feel on the matter, and where as a nation we can come together to agree on something sensible?
Sure. Well, I'll just ask you, when do you think human life begins?
Me personally, when I feel like it begins with the heartbeat, sir.
Okay, so you would a 6-week ban is okay then?
I'm pro-choice with exceptions. No woman, I don't feel like if a woman is due to have a child next week that she could choose to abort the child. That's not decency. That's not decent.
Okay, so but why a heartbeat? Like, what's the reason for that?
Why a heartbeat?
Yeah, like, so do you think we should not allow abortions right around 6 weeks? I'm just trying to
However,
understand.
I feel like 6 weeks is slightly too early, only because, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a gynecologist, but that means that week 6, that meant missed her period by 3 weeks, give or take, and that's already, then it's too late.
Potentially, right, but there's a heartbeat around 6 weeks. So,
Correct.
So just to play it out, that would be a termination of human life, right?
Correct.
Right, so why do we have murder laws then?
You ask, why do we have murder laws?
Yeah, because that'd be murdering a kid, right? If it's a human life, by your own estimation.
Correct. You stumped me there. I'm not gonna lie, you did stump me there. I contradict myself where I stand with the matter. That's why I'm asking more or less what's
That's okay.
your take on it.
Yeah, so my take is this: life begins at conception, and when life is formed in the womb, and deoxyribonucleic acid is created, a new being comes into formation, and that being is still growing. It's still on its process, but we as human beings tend to have size, level of development, environmental, and degree of dependency privilege. We think just because we're bigger and stronger and no longer in a womb, we have a moral right to do whatever we want to those that are still in the womb. And the toughest questions are the ones when we ask, what does it have to do with me, and is it worthy of protecting those that can't protect themselves? And so to be consistent, we say that's when human life begins. And just because the being is small, just because the being is in a womb, doesn't mean that we have a moral right to obliterate it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
I think you're actually pro-life.
I am. I just think, of personal situations and,
That's understandable.
things that matter.
But let's play that out just for a second. Situational ethics, for example, if a family is going bankrupt because the 4-year-old is eating too much food, you can't kill the 4-year-old to be able to reduce the family budget, right?
Correct. If I have the time, I will say, for one reason that I do happen to be pro-choice. A lot of people that is pro-life feels like it is an extremity for women that is already on the system to continue to have more kids.
I hear you.
To be given more funds. So with the same notion, I feel like it's like having your cake and eating it too. If you don't want women to be able to have the option at all to get an abortion, but feels like they shouldn't continue to get more welfare, that means that child being brought into the world is going to not be brought up to the same measures.
I think you're coming at it from a good perspective. That I reject kind of situational Malthusian ethics in that regard, in the sense that if it just makes your life easier, it doesn't mean you can commit an injustice against another human being. The same goes for arson or robbery or whatever it might be. But I will agree that we have to make it easier to adopt kids in America. There's 2 million families right now on the adoption waiting list, and there's a million abortions every single year. So the idea of an unwanted pregnancy is statistically untrue. And I believe that churches and communities, and yes, even at times city and state and local governments, need to step up and say, okay, we want Roe repealed, but we have to make sure that families and parents and moms have the support that they need. And I'll say one final thing, I think you agree. To the cowardly men that impregnate women and disappear, shame on you, and you're a big part of this problem.
100% correct.
God bless you.
Charlie.
Thank you.